Hello everyone, I'm Toshiba Kohli Khare. By profession, I'm a corporate trainer and I'm serving one of the very reputable institutions of Central India, Technocrats group of institutions, as a corporate trainer for verbal ability. I have already made a video on interview skills which many of you must have already seen. Today I'm going to discuss about an extremely important topic, online interviews. Online interviews carry a lot of importance as the use of video interviewing has grown significantly over the recent years. You will be surprised to know that over 40% of the employers now regularly use some form of video interviewing as in their recruitment process. And after this coronavirus pandemic, trust me, this percentage is going to increase even more. The concept of online interviews is a great choice as it reduces the time to hire the best candidate as soon as possible. For the job seekers, of course, it is much easier to give the interview sitting at home. It saves their travel time, travel expense, and of course it can be less stressful than being interviewed in person. Okay, so now before going ahead, remember that you first need to familiarize yourself with the softwares which are used for these online interviews. Zoom, Zoho, Skype, Google Hangouts and HireView are some of the common platforms. Consider signing up for a free trial, watch tutorial videos and do whatever you need to do to familiarize yourself with these tools. Needless to remind here that you first need to prepare yourself for the most expected and the most tricky questions which you will be facing in the online interview. Okay, so now I need to start with the tips which you need to remember in the online interview. Tip number 1. Download the software beforehand. The first thing here to remember is to download the software ahead of time so that you will get the opportunity to get used to it. Make sure that you practice using your webcam equipment before the interview so that you get comfortable during the interview. Tip number 2. Test all the important things. What does this mean? Test the connections, test the camera, test the sound, test the light of your room from where you are going to give the online interview. It's very, very important. Tip number 3. Give the interview in a quiet and secluded room. Now, this is something which is really, really important. Why? Because it is very necessary for you to give the online interview from a quiet and secluded room where you won't get disturbed by people, pets, etc., where there is no noise of fans and coolers. I have seen so many students giving the online interview sitting on the stairs or from a very crowded room. Avoid this mistake. And remember, for the success of your interview, it is really very necessary to have a distraction-free environment. Tip number 4, your attire and your dress up. Now, just like an one-on-one interview, one of the very important things in the online interview is your attire or your dress up. Make sure to dress professionally. Don't think that the clothes of only your upper body will be visible. You may have to stand up in the middle of the interview to grab something, and that may reveal your mismatched bottoms. Don't do this mistake. Dress professionally from top to toe, and it is always advisable to be dressed up in your business casuals. Tip number 5, your body language. Body language plays a very, very important role in the online interview. The way you have or you exhibit your body language in an online interview says a lot about you, how you are as a person. You can of course present a very positive image about yourself if you ensure sitting up straight with a good posture. Place your feet on the ground and avoid things like slouching and fidgeting. By slouching, I mean sitting in a relaxed way, in a lazy way. By fidgeting, I mean the nervous expressions of your hands and body. The nervous movements, I should say, of your hands and body. That is called fidgeting. So avoid things like slouching and fidgeting. Tip number 6, eye contact. Just like a one-on-one interview, even in an online interview, your eye contact plays a pivotal role. Make sure that you are able to maintain a very proper eye contact with the interviewer. For this, look right into the camera so that the eye contact with the interviewer is set properly. This is of course going to help you to fetch a lot of marks. Tip number 7. Keep all the necessary stuff close to you. What does this mean? Keep a pen, paper and all the necessary stuff ready and close to you. You never know when you may need it in between the interview, and you should not end up scrambling to find it during the interview. Really important. Tip number 8. Listen carefully to the interviewer. We have a habit that as soon as we start with the interview, we are in a hurry to end up soon. For that, we give quick responses. We do not even bother to listen to the interviewer carefully. Don't do this mistake while giving an online interview. Always remember to listen to the interviewer carefully, and then only you respond to avoid cutting in. Tip number 9. Plan for glitches. Have a backup plan ready if anything goes wrong on the day of the interview. Confirm with your interviewer that you are going to switch to a phone call in case any connection issues crop up. Tip number 10. Schedule at least one mock interview before your online interview. A very, very important point. Last but not the least, it is a very important point. This, of course, is going to help you a lot. Make sure that if not many, at least you should schedule one mock interview before the final day of your online interview. Plan it giving with your friend, a family member, a teacher, a trainer, or anyone. Trust me, this is going to prove extremely helpful to you. So, schedule at least one mock interview before your final online interview. So these were the most important things which you need to keep in your mind while preparing for an online interview. Trust me, acing your video interviews isn't that difficult. But by following these tips of video interviewing, you can ensure that you are fully prepared and able to make the best impression possible. Still, if you think that you are not comfortable how you look on camera or how you are sounding on the camera, the only thing you can do is practice, practice and practice. Because the more you practice, the more you will get better with not only online conferencing technology, but with the art of interviews as well. So guys and girls, if you like my video, do hit a like, comment and subscribe. Thank you.